Welcome to another episode of Mythic Drafting, where today we're going to be drafting a second ever draft of Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth right here on Magic Arena. And wow, we've got an interesting pack here to start. Our rare is Merry Esquire of Rowan, which is a 2/2 haste, legendary creature, halfling knight. It has first strike as long as it's equipped, and whenever you attack with Merry and another legendary creature, you draw a card. So Merry is very, very strong. But it's a two-color card in an aggressive deck. We have some fantastic uncommons here. I think Nazgul and Voracious Fellbeast are some of the best black uncommons in the set, and then Fearfire Foes is the best red uncommon in the set, in my opinion. I think here, the Nazgul, it enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you, and then it's a 1/2 death touch, and then whenever the ring tempts you, you put a +1/+1 counter on each wraith you control. So it's instantly a 2/3 death touch that the ring tempts you, but Voracious Fellbeast is a flying creature that when it enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a creature, and you create a food token for each creature sacrificed this way. I think Voracious Fellbeast is just a straight up 2-for-1. It's very powerful. Also gives you food token to stabilize, and then is a great threat to close out the game. Now we have our second pick. The rare is Born Upon a Wind, which I don't think is particularly playable. We've got Guahia, the Wind Lord, which is fine, but we're not going to pick that. And then we have more Urukai Captain, which is a menace 2/2. If one or more +1/+1 counters will be put on an army, goblin or orc you control, you put that many +1/+1 counters +1 on it. So this makes all your amass abilities one stronger, and I think the black-red deck is probably one of the better decks in the format from the early data that I have seen, and happy to take that one there. And we can immediately follow it up with Ugluk of the White Hand, which is another black-red signpost uncommon. Whenever another creature you control dies, you put a +1/+1 counter on Ugluk. If that creature was a goblin or orc, you put 2 +1/+1 counters instead. So not quite as strong as Mohia in my mind, but Ugluk is still fantastic. There is Saruman the White, which is a card I really like. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, amass orcs 2, and it's a 4/4 legendary creature with ward 2. So really strong card, but after taking Mohia and Voracious Fellbeast, I think would be pretty crazy to pass up the Ugluk here. We're looking like a good start in the black-red deck. Now I can see this pack, there's a common missing, and it's a black common, so that's not the greatest of signs. There's an Erkenbrand, Lord of Westfold, which is whenever it or another human enters the battlefield on your control, creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Not super exciting here. There's nothing else in red really for us. There is a Glorious Gale, which I like in blue. We could take Inherited Envelope, but I don't think that card's particularly good. I think we just take the Glorious Gale here. I think this Erkenbrand, Lord of Westfold, is quite replaceable, and the 4-drop slot can get a little bit crowded, and so I'm happy to just take a speculative blue card there in the event that it's very, very open. So now I've got Goblin Fireleaper. So it's a 1-mana 1/1, a 2-mana 1/1. You can play 2 to give it +1/+0. When it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. But it is a goblin, which goes well with Ugluk, and it goes well if we can put +1/+1 counters on it. So I think here we're going to take it over something like Improvised Club and the Oliphant, which are other considerations here. But I'm keen to just get a feel for how good the Fireleaper is. It's just great on blocks as well, I think. So now, black looks very, very cut here. We haven't seen any black cards really at this point, other than the Fellbeast and these 2 black-red cards. And there is a Bilbo Retired Burglar here. So Bilbo is very strong. When it enters the battlefield or leaves the battlefield, the ring tempts you, and then whenever it deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. But this is made all the more easy by the fact that it can just be the ring bearer, and then it can only be blocked by creatures with 1 power or less. So now we have Nimrodal Watcher, which is fine. I don't really want to take a blue card here. I think we're very likely to be red at this point. And Oligai Crusher is a fine one. It's a 4/4 trample in an aggressive deck, and then it can block if you have another Goblin or Orc on the battlefield, which we're very likely to have at this point. So now there's some good white cards there, but I'm not particularly interested. There's an Ents Fury, but again, I don't know if we can necessarily take that. The pick really is going to come down here to Hithlin Knots or Sam's Desperate Rescue in black. And I think the pick is probably going to be the Desperate Rescue here. We're still heavy preferencing black at this point, given how strong the payoff is for being in black. And now I think I don't think Gimli's Axe is very good. I don't love Shelob's Ambush either. Surrounded by Orcs is also not particularly great. Although if we are in blue-red, like, it could be potentially fine. So I'm just going to pick that up here. This has been a pretty awkward draft to some extent. But now we're going to get a Battle-Scarred Goblin, which is just a 2/2 Goblin Warrior for 2. Whenever it becomes blocked, it deals 1 damage to each creature blocking it. So stops them from double blocking with 1 mana creatures, which is really nice. I don't like Cast Into the Fire or Gimli's Axe. And Greyhaven Navigator is a 3/2 flash for 3 that scries 1. It's fine if we end up in blue. So I think we're pretty likely to be red here. But the question will be whether we are blue or black as our second colour. Or we could potentially end up playing all 3 in some combination. So wow, now we have a really interesting pick here. There's Storm of Saruman, which is a mythic. Whenever you cast your second spell, each turn copy it, except the copy isn't legendary. I don't think this card is particularly good. It's a 6 mana enchantment that does nothing the turn it comes down, and then you have to have 2 cards in your hand in order to trigger it. So if you trigger it once, then you get 1 card back from it, and you've spent a whole 6 mana to do that. And it's only good if you can really chain draw spells. I think the pick here for me is going to be Dunlin Crabane. I think this is the best black common outside of Steal the Precious, and I'm hoping that we get hooked up in black this pack, given that nothing was passed through. Instantly rewarded here with a Balrog Durin's Bane, which is busted black-red rare. 5 black-red for a 7/5 legendary creature, Avatar Demon. It has haste, and this spell costs 1 less to cast for each permanent sacrifice this turn. Can't be blocked except by legendaries, and when it dies, destroy target artifact or creature an opponent controls. So this is a perfect one for us. Very happy to get it here. This pack is absolutely stacked. There's a Golem Patient Plotter, a Grima Wormtongue, a Battle-Scarred Goblin, Improvised Club, and a Claim the Precious. So I think we're probably going to wheel something from this pack, but we're certainly slamming Balrog Durin's Bane and moving right back into black-red and probably cutting all of these blue cards here. And now we've got a pretty interesting pick here between Ugluk number 2 and Acclaim the Precious. I think here I'm probably just going to take the Precious because we don't have a ton of removal at this point, and Claim the Precious is probably the best common in the set, and the legendaries get worse in multiples because you can have hands where you have both of them. Card I also really like as well is Torment of Golem. This is a 2/2, amass 2, and then you get to look at their hand and steal a card. So it's a Thoughtseize on a stick without the downside of paying life. Really love Torment of Golem, and we'll hope to pick one up, but we're certainly just slamming Claim the Precious as well, our first removal spell there. And now we get another payoff here in Grishnak Brash Instigator. So we are getting rewarded here in black-red. In the black cards that we got these two, I think we can thank whoever's to our right taking black cards, but certainly we cut red pretty well. So Grishnak is a 3 mana 1/1. When it enters the battlefield, you amass Orcs 2. When you do, until end of turn, you gain control of target non-legendary creature an opponent controls with power less than or equal to the amassed army's power. And then you untap it and it gains haste. So it's a act of treason on a stick, but with a little bit of hoops that you have to jump through to make it really good. But our deck is looking like one that will be able to take advantage of it. We'll also be looking for ways, I think, to sacrifice creatures, given that we can then steal and hopefully sack, but we don't have anything to do that just yet. So now we have a pick between Mouth of Sauron, which is a card I really like, but this isn't a deck for it. Shire Terrace for some fixing for later on, and then Mordor Muster. This card is unassuming looking, but I think is very good. 1 to black for a sorcery, you draw a card, lose 1 life, and you amass Orcs 1. There's tons of cards in this set that just want you to be amassing, particularly in black-red, and the fact that you get to cycle this for free is fantastic. And now Ask and You Shall Receive with Grima Wormtongue. This card is perfect for our deck. Your opponents can't gain life. You tap it to sack another creature. Target player loses 1 life. If the sacrificed creature was legendary, amass Orcs 2. So Grima is the sack outlet we were looking for. It also protects our cards against removal, and can just drain opponents for, the final bits of damage that we might need to get off. Another way to take advantage of Grima Wormtongue is with Haunt of the Dead Marshes. 1 mana 1/1. When it enters the battlefield, you scry 1. You can pay 2 and a black to return it from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Activate only if you control a legendary creature. So Haunt of the Dead Marshes is perfect with Grima Wormtongue. You can just recur it infinitely, and there's a good pickup, a nice little pickup there. Now we have Saruman's Trickery. I think is a really strong blue uncommon. Counter target spells, amass Orcs 1, and I'd love to play it in a deck with Greyhaven's Navigator. Keen to do that. But the card I'm going to pick here is Breaking the Fellowship. We don't have a ton of removal, and this isn't perfect, but it's fine. The way it works is target creature an opponent controls deals damage to it equal to its power to another creature that player controls, and then the ring tempts you. So you basically have that creature kill their other creature. It's a fine card, I think. Now we have a Mirkwood Bats or Breaking of the Fellowship. I think I'll take Breaking of the Fellowship number 2, just in case we don't get any more removal. And now I'm just going to pick up a little Battle Scarred Goblin. Happy to pick them up here. Not sure we'll play all of them, but yeah, that it's fine. Dunedain and Blade we're not interested in Rush the Rooms either. Yeah, so the early data I think for this set is really telling me that black and red are the 2 best colours, and there are other colours that are good. I think blue's fine. I think green can be fine in some decks, but white looks to be the weakest colour so far. So now I've opened another Mythic. We've opened Last March of the Ents. This spell can't be countered. Draw cards equal to the greatest toughness among creatures you control, then put any number of creatures from your hand onto the battlefield. So this one is a sweet one in green, but you really need a dedicated draft around deck to make this thing work. And we are going to be slamming Oath of the Grey Host here. 4 mana for a Saga. Both you and your opponent create a food. Then your opponent loses 3 life. You create a treasure token, and then you get 3 1/1 spirit creature tokens with flying on the last one. So, bit of a slow card, but there's a ton of value in this, and the treasure token, the food token, are all going to be good with what we've got going on here. So I'm liking the deck so far. I think we've got a pretty good curve. We've got some really powerful top end in Voracious Fellbeast and Balrog Durin's Bane. I've got Claim the Precious and 2 Breaking of the Fellowships. I'd love to sub these out for something else a little bit stronger, but we're certainly not going to be complaining with them. And now I think we're just going to pick up Ugluk of the White Hand number 2 here. We don't want to be splashing anything of these blue cards, preferably, so no point taking Lorien Revealed, but happy to pick up Ugluk here. I'm curious to say, I think this is more of a sideboard card given it's a sorcery, but the ring tempts you and -1/-1 to all your opponent's creatures isn't necessarily a bad effect, but I think we're just taking Ugluk here and really going all in on goblins and orcs in our deck. And now we get a really nice one here. This pack is really strong. Sauron's Ransom is good. Choose an opponent. They look at top 4 cards of your library. They separate them into a face-down pile and a face-up pile, and then the ring tempts you and you choose one of the piles. There's another Bilbo. There's a Shadowfax, which is great, but the card for us is going to be Smite the Deathless here. It's just a 2 mana, deal 3. If that creature's indestructible, they lose it. If the creature would die this turn, exile it instead. I don't mind Warbeast of Gargaruth. We would pick one up here, but certainly not taking it over Smite the Deathless. And we're probably looking to cut one of these Breaking of the Fellowships here. So now I've got to pick between Erebor Flamesmith and the Rohirrim Lancer as a 1/1 menace that ring tempts you when it dies. I think we're just going to take the Lancer here. I think we don't have a ton of tempting at this point. We have a couple of ways of doing it. It's probably good to have it once or twice, and just a 1/1 body to actually put the tempting on is probably pretty good. Probably good enough to make our deck at this point. And I think as well here now, we're going to follow it up with a Relentless Rohirrim. So a 4/3 Human Knight, when it enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you. It's going to make sure we have enough redundancy with the ring tempting us to frequently do it. Now we have a pick between Swarming of Moria and Mortal Muster. And I think I'm just going to take the Swarming. No, I actually think I'm going to take one of the Screaming of Moria here. And the reason I'm doing this is because we've got a bit of a few 2-drops here, and then we've got, it works really well with Balrog Durin's Bane because you can sack the token to make it cost 6, and then it also ramps you so that you can cast it on turn 5, which is a possibility in our deck. And now we're going to pick up a Torment, the Torment of Golem here, which we were talking about earlier. Pretty happy to pick that one up there. Really like this card, and the amass gets better in multiples. We'll take an Olikai Crusher here, but I think our 4-drop slot and top end is pretty crowded, and we probably won't be playing it. I also think we're probably going to play this second Relentless Rohirrim over the first Olikai Crusher, just because having more effects of the ring tempts you is a lot better. It just means that you get more benefits from the ring, but you can also make subsequent creatures become ring bearers. So I think we're going to cut this Quarrel's End here as our last card. The other option is to just cut this Haunt of the Dead Marshes. How many legendary creatures do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Plus we have 1, 2, 3, 4 ways of having the ring tempt us. So we have 10 ways of making a legendary creature, which makes this potentially fine. I think it's probably better than Quarrel's. I think Quarrel's End can be quite decent. But Haunt of the Dead Marsh is a nice little recursive effect with Grima Wormtongue. It's an interesting decision. I think I'm pretty confident of what this effect's going to look like, and I'm curious to just see how Haunt of the Dead Marshes plays in the set, particularly given that it does help you block pesky little one power ring bearers, which is a pretty important thing, I think, to be able to do in this set, given that that's the easiest way for opponents to really force damage through. So let's dive into game number 1 here. And take a look at our opening hand. We've got Rohirrim Lancer, Mortal Muster, Sam's Desperate Rescue, and then we've got Balrog to top it off. So hopefully we can find one of our ways of sacrificing some creatures so that we can slam some Durin's Bane here. But yeah, we're going to be mustering it up pretty quickly here. A little bit of an aggressive start. Hopefully, the dream with this card is that you manage to have another amass effect, because if you do, then you can hit them pretty hard. Like if we draw a card that can amass 2, like Dunland's Crebain here, we're hitting them for 4 on turn 3, and opponents under a ton of pressure with 5 power and toughness on the board. But we've drawn Oath of the Grey Host, which is a fantastic draw for us, because now on turn 5, we'll be creating a treasure token. We'll sack it, and we'll have 6 mana if we draw 1 more land to cast Balrog Durin's Bane. Opponent's going off over there a little bit, but we're not too concerned here. We could cast Relentless Rohirrim, but I think we're just going to cast the Oath and get it going next turn. So they've got a Rohirrim Lookout. We're just going to get in with our Menace Lancer. Not going to sacrifice our little 1/1 here, and then just slam Oath of the Grey Host here. So now we'll be able to cast Balrog Durin's Bane next turn, and our opponent will be under a huge amount of pressure. And unless they have a way of exiling this, it's just going to do a ton of damage to them. So now they've got Elven Chorus. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast creature spells from the top of your library. And then creatures you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. That's pretty cool. So we can go ahead and sack this for black. And then make Durin's Bane cast 6. I see your Elven Chorus and I up your Balrog's Durin's Bane here. And we're going to just get in. An opponent also has to be dealing with the fact that we've got 3 1/1s coming in next turn as well. And they lost 3 life off this. They're at 5 life all of a sudden. It's a pretty insane start for us. I think Balrog's Durin's Bane is one of the tougher rares to deal with. Opponent, yeah, they're just dead at this point. See the writing on the wall. They're going to have to chump with Balrog's Durin's Bane there. We managed to take out the first win, and I'll see you for game number 2. Alrighty, welcome back for game number 2. We have another hand I don't think that we can mulligan here. Oh, I thought actually... Oh, maybe this hand actually was a mulligan. I thought this was the 2 mana legend, so we could be punished here. If we draw some land, we'll be fine. Drawing a second copy of Ugluk is not great. I thought this was a 2 mana black-red legend, and if we drew 1 land, we'd get to go that one into this, make a 3/3. But yeah, not to be. We are going to get to Grishnak up here. We get to amass, we get to take that 2/2, and we get to hit them in the face with it. And then we get to say go. So now we're set up pretty well. They've got Mordor Trebuchet. Whenever you attack with 1 or more goblins or orcs, they get to create a 2/1 colorless construct artifact creature token. And Ballistic Boulder that's tapped and attacking, and then you sack it at the end of the turn. I absolutely love the flavor of this card. They get to get a little orc on a boulder. And I think here we're pretty comfortable to just trade to turn this off. We don't want the opponent to get to just hit us in the face with a 2 mana fly every turn. We've absolutely lucked out here with our draw. We're going to go ahead and run this Oath the Greyhost play again. If we draw a land, we're going to be able to cast our Balrog, which is fantastic. And it also just starts ticking it down so that we can get the 1/1s online. Got pretty lucky out of this keep here. And yeah, I'm not too worried about this 2/1 Human Warrior. Grishnak trades with it pretty well. We've got another one. That's fine. We've absolutely lucked out here. We get to go run the same play here and just slam Balrog Durin's Bane. There is potentially an argument to just holding it back, but yeah, they can't block it unless they have a legend, and it's really hard for any creature to actually block this thing. So yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to deal with this particularly well. So whenever 2 or more creatures you control attack a player, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them, put it into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So yeah, that's a cool, interesting artifact. Don't think it's going to do it for the opponent here. And Golem Patient Plotter is going to be able to block Balrog here, but we're set up pretty nicely at this point, I think. So I think we can just go Torment of Golem to start things off. Just take a look at our opponent's hand here. We'll take that Oliphant, get a 2/2, and then just hit them with Balrog. They're going to have to block with Golem. We can slowly start whittling them away here, but yeah, next turn we're going to get to hit them in the air for 3. So, and we get to gain some life this turn. They can attack to trigger the Horn of the Mark, and they can sack creatures to start doing this, but I'm not too worried. I think we're on the better side of the battlefield here, and we've got 2 Ugluks as well to start churning it out so that this thing can get huge as we trade away. The opponent isn't going to wait around for that. They've conceded. We're 2-0, and I'll see you for game number 3. Alrighty, welcome back for game number 3 here. We're on the play. This is going to be a keep. If we get 1 land, Swarming of Moria can really start to do some work to get us up. We can just stack a mass here. We've got Moria, Dunlan Crabane, Torment of Golem. We're going to have a big army if we hit one land, which we do not. So now we're just going to get Goblin Firekeeper out and just beat down. That's absolutely fine as long as we hit this next turn up. Not too worried at this point. And we can always crank this one up to deal some damage. So that's not good. Whenever this enters the battlefield, you create a food token. When you do, target creature gets +1/+1. So that's fine. We can't attack here. So a little bit awkward. Got a bit punished. But after we got pretty lucky last game, I can't really complain. And we're still like far from being out of this game. Opponent's getting in with the Erst Farthing Farmer. I'm going to pump this bad boy up to a 4/5 here. And we're going to have to take it. No blocks from us, good sir. And they've got some good food on the battlefield as well. But we're going to get to hit Swarming of Moria here. And I think that's what we're going to want to cast, just so that we can guarantee playing a Torment of Golem next turn, so we can take the best card in their hand. They've got 6 cards in hand, and I'm a little bit concerned that they might have a pretty powerful bomb in there, or just the third East Farthing Farmer. So I'm gonna get whacked for 5 here. We can't block, but we are gonna have a 4/4 this turn. See, I think we just want to have a look. Have a little peek at their hand here. And just say, what's going on over their opponent? So they've got Banish from Madoris. They can exile target creature. End's Fury is a great one. They've got another East Farthing Farmer. And they've got Shortcut to Mushrooms. As well as a Quick Beam Upstart. Right, so I would say we are in a lot of trouble here. So this gives 2 target creatures +2/+2 and trample, and it's just a massive threat. I think we're going to take that one away and just say go here. They are going to get to whack us again with East Farthing Farmer, so opponent is just getting in here, but I think we're going to have to chump this one. They could cast End's Fury here. They take down our army. And yeah, we're going to have... So we're going to get to chump here, but we're going to also get to trade off here, because this will deal its power to this one. So we're going to have to work our way through here. So we could play Relentless Roy here, but we're just dead to this. Dunlan Crabane creates 2 bodies, but there's no good blocks with it. I think the play here is to just play Wormtongue, play Haunt of the Dead Marshes. We get to scry one as well. Let's keep Grishnak on top in case they leave us with Grima. I don't think they will. I think they should kill Grima here, but if they don't, we'll get to steal one of the East Farthing Farmers and then sack it, which is pretty nice. They should just take this out, yeah. So, take that out. We're going to chump here. We're pretty dead at this point. Yeah, I mean, we can steal with Grishnak, but we can't sacrifice anything to do with it. Yeah, so we're just dead at this point. That's game number 3. We're 2-1, and I'll see you for game number 4. Alrighty, on to game number 4 here. We've got to keep here with Smite the Deathless, Claim the Precious, and then Ugluk. So we're going to make sure we play out a swamp there so that we can cast Smite into Claim. It's a nice little follow-up here. We can actually just kill the Took Reaper here. I think we potentially want to do that so they lose that ring. We're potentially going to do it in response to something here so that they don't get to put the ring Tempts You on anything. I think we'll just go ahead and pick it off here. We're going to have Claim the Precious next turn anyway. And we just don't want them getting the ring going. And yeah, no, we're not going to cast it on Dullen Crabane. So, I mean, we could cast it on the 2-2 here, but that's just not worth it. I think we're just got to say go. We can play Ugluk next turn and then play Relentless Rohirrim. Dullen Crabane is just, wow, such a beating here. So now we can play our own Crabane, but I think we just want to probably just, we could. I think actually we just want to play Relentless Rohirrim so that we can have the ring tempt, but then we can trade the 4-3 for the 4-4 and follow up with hopefully Dullen's Crabane next turn to trade that for a 1-1. Yeah, we're just going to snap block here. Make the trade. We're pretty happy here. They're plain cycling their Eagles of the North, getting their lands, and then Denethor ruling Steward is going to be one that we definitely need to take down here. So go ahead and just, I think we need to kill. So we'll go ahead and play the Rohirrim Lancer. And I think we want to just play Ugluk here. We can afford to take some hits here. They can sack the 1-1 to drain us, but this means that when we trade, they can sacrifice this now. But that's going to be a good target for us to kill here. Well, opponent's deck seems really nice. So no blocks from us here. They're also going to get to make another 1-1 off Denethor. Wow, that deck's really good. Like, this is an awesome white-black variety. We can go ahead and cast Dullen Crabane though. We're going to have to claim the Precious here. Taking down the Shire Sheriff. And I think we just want Rohirrim Lands to be our ring bearer here. We can actually just afford to get in. Pitch this, because then the ring will tempt us if it dies and they can't block it because of the menace. So got decent blocks here as well. Like, we could trade the Crabane, which is great for us because we get to Sam's desperate rescue back. They're going to have to deal with Ugluk, and we can trade our Crabane as well. They're going to lash the Balrog us. We're going to trade here, and I think we want to trade here as well. We just want to preserve the damage at this point in the game. Denethor is really just shredding us though. Really wanted to be able to kill that thing, but it's pretty tough on this board. They just get to filtering. They get to keep filtering their creatures. So we can get back Ugluk or Dullen Crabane. Can cast Ugluk with the white hand. Let's go ahead and just see what we draw when we attack. Land is not going to be the play here. I think we just want to Sam's desperate rescue. Getting back Dullen Crabane here to take down their 1-1 flyer, and also just get another body on the battlefield to block the 1-1. It's going to be pretty tough for us to beat this Denethor here. Denethor is a very, very strong card. Probably one of the better uncommons in the set as well. It's possible we were meant to just kill the Denethor and not actually kill and not get our Ugluk back before, but it just seems like terrible value. So they get to sack the creature to draw 3 off the legendary. We're in a lot of hurt here. They're probably going to have another follow-up play this turn. They're just churning through their value creatures. So we can cast a... So the first thing we want to do is we want to get in here. The ring tempts us. So we can have these deal damage to each other. That doesn't seem particularly good. I think we'd rather have a 4-4 and an Ugluk. So let's go ahead and get a 4-4. Get an Ugluk here. And we've actually gummed up the board pretty well, and now it's just going to be the threat of Denethor draining us to death here that will be the problem. And we don't have another removal spell for it. And now whenever they sack this token, we're going to lose life. So they can just sack a token here, drain us for 2, they get another token, and they can drain us out next turn. It's gonna, yeah, we're pretty much dead at this point. I don't think there's anything we can really draw. We'll show them the more here. We've assembled our army, but it's not going to be enough. The mighty army of Mordor is going to fall to Denethor ruling Steward, which is not how it played out in the movies, but good game to the opponent. We'll let them drain us out here. That was a sweet one from the opponent. It really shows you how white-black can work when you assemble it, and I'll see you in the next one. Alrighty, welcome back for game number 5. This hand's going to be a keeper here. We've only got 2 lands, but we've got 3 cards that we can play, and the curve, if we can run out Grishnak, is going to be pretty nice. So definitely worth keeping this one. 2 ring tempts you, so going to get some benefit off that as well, hopefully. Would ideally have seen a land there, but even if we take a turn to draw a land and miss 1 land drop, I think this hand will work out okay. Torment of Golem's a great curve option with Grishnak, because you can play the Grishnak, you get your 2/2, and then the next turn you're hitting them for 4 with it. So now they've got Frodo Baggins. So whenever Frodo or another legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, the ring tempts you, and then it must be blocked if able. So we're going to go ahead. We can't steal Frodo, but we can bash in here. Frodo is going to be able to take down Grishnak here, which is a little bit awkward, and there's potentially an argument for playing the Battle-Scarred Goblin instead there. Frodo is just like quite an annoying card, I think. They are going to get to pump Frodo. But that means we have to block with the 2/2 here, so that's pretty annoying, and the Frodo just gets to eat our 2/2. The Desperate Rescue is fine. It's not amazing. We can just bash in here with these 2. We do get to ping that, which is good. And now I think we can probably just want to play out the Rune-Scarred Goblin. And I think we might want to just get the ring temps us going. Grishnak's going to have to block here, which is a little bit awkward. And maybe we should have held Desperate Rescue to get back Grishnak. Frodo's just housing us here. So, oh, another mistake there as well. We should have eaten Frodo with the Battle-Scarred Goblin. Bill the Pony comes down. Frodo gets to pump up. Bit of a problem for us now here. We can play Tormented Golem. The Torment of Golem, sorry. And have a look at what opponents got in their hand. Really should have taken down Frodo that turn. They probably had something. So yeah, they've got Butter Breeding Keeper, Esquire of the King, Mushroom Watchdogs. I think let's take down Pippin's Bravery here. Although Mushroom Watchdogs is going to be a bit of a problem. I think we'll take down the Watchdogs here. The fact that they've got so much food and they've got Butter Breeding Keeper, it's going to be difficult to deal with that. So let's go ahead and attack with Rohirrim Lancer. I actually realised as well that we can't actually block with the Battle-Scarred Goblin. So Frodo is just a house on this board. It can just kill all our 1/1s. We can't block it with the 2/2 while it's the ring bearer. So Frodo is a really, really solid card, I think, in green-white. Opponent's getting in here. We can't double block, so we just have to take this, I think. We are still at 20, so not a huge problem here. They can sack a food and then hit us for 8 if they want to with Build a Pony. They can also make Frodo deal damage, so they can hit us for 7. So that's going pretty well for them. Build a Pony is a bit of a house on this board, and they're probably just going to play Butterbeer. Or no, they're going to play the Enraged Huon. So we're in a ton of bother here. I think, yeah, we just have to go for the Oath of the Grey Host here. And we're going to create a food token and a treasure token. But it looks like we're probably going to lose this game here. I don't think we have any... We have to attack with the Lancer. We don't want to block. Don't have any great blocks here. We're going to take a ton of damage from the opponent. Plus Pippin's Bravery. They can just almost kill us this turn. So... we still have no good blocks because they've still got Pippin's Bravery in their hand, so... in a ton of trouble here. Looks like we're going to lose this, and a bit disappointing after the 2-0 start. I thought this deck was pretty nice, but... yeah, maybe these Battle-Scarred Goblins just aren't very good. We didn't really draw a lot of great hands after the first one, and this Frodo has just housed us, so... opponent's going to get to... hit us for 8, 11. This is just game at this point, so good game to the opponent. They got through, got the win there. Unfortunate way to end the draft, but I hope you still managed to enjoy the video, and I'll see you for the next one.